All right, I'll jump in a second. I'm going to go share this out.
Shalom, Nancy. Nancy Fancy.
There we go.
BD Turbo. Shalom. And shalom, Ashley. We got someone with some sunglasses. Futuristic future. Hello. Shalom, Jess. Louis. Beth Ann.
Oh, I must be blocked from sharing.
On Facebook?
Yep. They don't like me.
Well, I just saw your last link that you, Shalom BD Turbo, that you had shared just a little bit ago. Shalom Shelby. I was able to find that one.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Talking about, let me see if I can fix that. Shalom, wifey. Oh, I forgot you turned your notifications off. All right, let me see if I can change that. Shalom, Mark. How you doing, brother? Let's see. Ooh. That one might be better.
All right.
Better. All right. Can you guys on TikTok can you hear me okay, or is that air conditioner too loud in the background? All right, great. Excellent. All right, let me get my Bible open here. Oh, Max, you got something to say too, huh? So we are on chapter 9. I need to look at something here quick. Oh, mute.
Mute.
I bet everyone loved that.
Yeah. Making sure you're all awake.
That means we're getting started. All right. Oops. Let's see. I need to adjust something on here with my moderators quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, there we go. I'm ready. So I think you read 8 last time, so I can read 9 this time if you want me to.
Okay.
I praise you, O Yahweh, with all my heart. I declare all your wonders. I rejoice and exult in you. I sing praise to your name, O Most High. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before you. For you executed my right and my cause. You sat on the throne, judging in righteousness. You have rebuked the nations. You have destroyed the wrong. You have wiped out their name forever and ever. The enemy is no more, ruins everlasting. And you have uprooted the cities, even their remembrance has perished. But Yahweh abides forever. He is preparing his throne for judgment, and he judges the world in righteousness. He judges the peoples in straightness. And Yahweh is a refuge for the crushed one, a refuge in times of distress. And those who know your name trust in you. For you have not forsaken those who seek you, O Yahweh. Sing praises to Yahweh, who dwells in Zion. Declare his deeds among the peoples, for he remembers the seekers of bloodshed. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. Show favor to me, O Yahweh. See my affliction by those who hate me. You who lift me up from the gates of death, so that I declare all your praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I rejoice in your deliverance. The nations have sunk down in the pit which they made, in the net which they hid. Their own foot is caught. Yahweh has made himself known. He has done right ruling. The wrong is snared in the work of his own hands. The wrong returned to Sheol, all the nations that forget Elohim. For the needy is not always forgotten, neither the expectancy of the poor lost forever. Arise, O Yahweh, do not let man prevail. Let the nations be judged before your face. Put them in fear, O Yahweh. Let the nations know they are but men. All right.
A lot of digging to do here.
There's a lot, yeah. A lot to unpack in that chapter. Let me get my other Bible open here to it. Kind of want to reference the King James Version too while we're doing this. All right, we got Jess. Shalom, Jess. Shalom, Shelby. Who else we got here? Wifey. Yeah, I can't invite you. You have to ask because I can't see you on the guest list until you ask. Christine, if you want to come up as well, or Mark, or anybody else, this is an open Bible study, so everyone's welcome to talk and share. Yeah, we're on Facebook. Oh. Hi, honey.
And I don't see other people's requests when they request to pick it up. That's so weird.
Huh.
Oh,
that's because it's on my personal page on Facebook. I don't think I have you. Yeah. I'll have to. Shalom, Mark. Yeah, it might be because of your privacy notifications. I don't know. Because I can't find you to add you either. Let me go out and I'm gonna share it to. I gotta share it to my thing. I gotta do something goofy, anyways. Or James, can you share it to my Facebook profile?
It's not letting me share for some reason. I think I've been shut down or something. I don't know.
Oh. Huh.
I can see it. I can probably have Ashley share it. I don't know if she's following you.
I can do it here quick. Pretty sure. I don't know how to find it even, I guess. There it is.
Oh, all right. I just found a whole new screen here. Event URL. This is new. I gotta keep changing stuff. Slight technical difficulties. Let's see. Found it.
Trees we need to cut down too, just because they're not looking healthy. They're too close together.
Yeah, for some reason it won't let me
Choke each other out.
share.
I,
Yeah, this tree,
found it.
Like I can't find the share
fell down
button.
and it fell down on the backyard, on the fence in the neighbor's backyard as well, on top of their house. This is
So I ended up finding it.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
why,
it was
but
a
there's
really
like a whole different live studio on Facebook now, and you have to go in there, or at least on my page, I do.
Yeah, I couldn't find a link to share it. I found it, but I could like it, I could comment it, and I could. Well, hold on a second. Let me see here.
There you go.
All right. I think I got it figured out. I shared it in the milk group. All right. So 9:1. I praise you, O Yahweh, with all my heart. I declare all your wonders. I got to refresh myself here. It's been a week since I even did this now.
I found a reference of Deuteronomy.
So I got to turn the volume up here. What was that? Deuteronomy. What's that?
4:34.
Deuteronomy 4:34. Excellent.
She offered to read it too. I don't know if you heard that part.
Oh, I didn't. No, go right ahead. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Or has any God ever attempted to go and take a nation for himself from the midst of another nation by trials, by signs, by wonders, and by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great deeds of terror, all of which the Lord your father did for you in Egypt before your eyes?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be lukewarm.
That's right. And it's amazing that you said that because what I found, okay, so the word works, all right? It's at the end of the verse, very last word. Well, I noticed in chapter 8, verse 6, that there is the word works there as well, okay? but they have different numbers. One of the first one in 8-6 is 4639, and then the one in 9-1 is 6381. Now, the one in 8-6, that means more like an action to do, like you would think it would mean. And then the one in 9-1 means more so to separate or to distinguish. So what I see is more so like the separating of the wheat from the chaff.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And like we just said, you can't be lukewarm. As we come to the truth, he's going to do that, and we can see others' fruits more clearly. You know, we can separate in our own lives and the people that we interact with as well, because of our righteous judgment and our discernment that we gain through the knowledge and wisdom that he gives us as well.
Yep. A lot of words are like that, if you notice. Going through. That's why I like these, like the Keyword Bible, and then this one I just got today. There's different meanings. That's why I keep drilling this in, but we have to study. We can't just read. You got to study the word.
Yeah, because it just changes your perception a little bit, you know, and gets you a more clear picture of what he's trying to say and what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in this one, it's not a huge thing, but in some areas, it can be very, very big.
Yep.
That's all I had on that first verse, though.
Yeah, I started taking notes in 3 and 4, writing down the concordance numbers.
Well, in verse 2, I rejoice and exalt in you. I sing praise to your name, O Most High. So, like, in his marvelous works, if we carry on from where we were last time, we were talking about tribulation, and we could see a lot of the tribulation in the end times happening in the previous chapters. So I kind of, you know, we just talked about the separating the wheat from the chaff as being his marvelous works in the first verse instead of an actual action. So in the second verse, I see, you know, like through the separating of the wheat from the chaff, we got to praise him in the good and the bad, because the separation is going to test people's hearts, and it'll be very, very sad what's going to come in tribulation. I mean, even now, like with the ones that we love and the ones that we see, the ones that we know that are not living righteously, you know, that is sad in itself, that we have to still praise him and let his will be done.
Absolutely.
Did you oh, sorry. I thought Mark was going to say something.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, well, I can now.
Oh, my bad. I had my phone in the thing. So, I was just going to say that during tribulation, we're going to be tested, and we just got to, you know, make sure we don't fail those tests and just keep the commandments and, you know, just stay positive and everything.
Yep. Sing praise to his name.
Yes, that's sing praise. I wish I could figure out how to play this guitar, because I would do it a lot more.
I tried, and I didn't put the time or effort into it like I wanted to, and I ended up just selling it. I just sold it the other day, actually.
It's pretty hard, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. It's hard.
Well, being a carpenter, man, my hands did not like it either. Like, just I don't know if it's carpal tunnel or whatever, but how much I use my hands and my forearms, like it did not like me doing the guitar stuff.
I agree with that.
I got carpal tunnel and I'm not a carpenter, nor do I play the guitar.
Well, you are. That's news to me too. The whole that you can get carpal tunnel when you're pregnant thing. I didn't know that was a thing.
It's all the fluid, the extra fluid and stuff or whatever, putting pressure, I guess. It should go away, but if it doesn't, then it wasn't from it.
Yeah. Yeah, you better not have another baby. You might just waste away.
Oh, word. For real.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, this third trimester is going to be testing. So, all right. Verse 3, unless anybody has anything else they want to say on 2. It's kind of a straightforward one. But when my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before you.
So I want to talk about those words in this verse because something stuck out to me. So enemies is concordance number 341 with a root of from 340. So 341 is enemy, foe, adversary, and 340 the root as one from an opposite tribe or party. So it's specific. From the root.
Opposite.
It's talking about, well, Canaan. People not in the same tribe. People not of Israel.
Right. Yeah, just like that one teaching of Jason's, I don't know if you saw it, but he compared a lot of opposites in scripture, because everything is opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any gray area like we've talked about.
Yep. There's an answer.
Light and dark.
Yep. There's an answer for everything in this book. Just got to seek it.
There's a little hint at who the enemies are there that I just threw in there.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
But do you have something to say on that?
Not really. Just that we don't not only including that point, but there's also like Esau. He'll be turned away. So we don't want to be one of those people either. We can be turned away from the gates as well if we aren't following in our Father's way and listening to His command.
Yep. So turned number 7725. So I'm reading out of the Restoration Study Bible.
Okay.
So it's 7725 means not necessarily to a starting point. So it's actually what I think. I mean, what I take that as is turning away from the Father's commands, away from what we're supposed to be doing. Doesn't mean necessarily going back. Like the church talks about falling away and backsliding. Doesn't mean going back to where you started. It means turning away from what the Father says.
Yeah. You said that was 7725 means what again?
Not necessarily to a starting point. I didn't write all of it, but that's the part that stuck out to me.
Okay.
And-
Well, see, then you still have that word back that needs to be addressed.
Yep, that's
268.
that's the next one I have written down.
Oh, okay.
And there's two words in that definition that's really stuck out. So 268 says shortened, hence backward, and then it says as facing north.
Hmm.
So what's to the north?
Army. Locust
Yep.
Army.
That kind of stuck out.
Wow.
And then it also says west, which we're supposed to be looking to the
Where
east.
we're at.
Yeah, it says the west would be facing the north, kind of is what it's implying there. I'm looking at it right now,
Yep.
right? Is what you're seeing as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's exactly what's happening.
Yes. Wow, that's crazy. That's one that I didn't even pick apart either. I don't know why, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, it like jumped off the page at me.
I'm
Right.
glad you saw that too. That's cool.
Wow.
Yep.
So that all right. So when my opposite tribe is not necessarily started when looking to the north, is how that would read.
Yeah.
Hmm. Did you break down the rest of it too?
So I have the last word I have is where fall. That's 3782. Now that pretty much literally means what even the church teaches: to waver, falter, stumble, fall, cast down. But it also says cause to fall. So if you're causing someone else to backslide, to fall away, um, it doesn't go. It goes two ways because we can cause people to fall. Doing something as simple as buying on the Sabbath. Going shopping. You're causing your brother to fall. I mean, whether it's our brother or not, we don't know if they're following the Father's commandments, but because we don't know, we shouldn't be doing it.
That's right.
Well, we shouldn't be doing it because the Father said so, but
Yeah, that one perish is to wander away.
yep.
Doesn't actually mean to die. It means like what you were just saying,
Hmm.
to fall away.
Which will eventually lead to the grave. You keep
Yeah, the second
yep,
death.
you keep going that way, and not a good idea. That's all I broke down there. I mean, I didn't look up presence. I read it real quick. It means literally what it says, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It means like the face.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's got a root word here too. It means to turn. like to turn, face, appear, look. So yeah, pretty much like in his presence would be like in his face.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. I want to look at the comments here. Oh no, hard way to not even. Oh yeah, Sabbath. Yeah, if you don't have anything to prepare for Sabbath, like if you don't prepare for Sabbath, it kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go and.
See, that's one thing I think about a lot too when we were on the fence about should we leave or should we not. And then I tore my rotator cuff. Well, Max did, and I was like, okay, nope, that's enough for me. And then I left again for somebody's baby shower because a longtime friend. And then I was like, nope, okay, that's enough for me. It's just every time I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm not. No, I don't even like traveling anymore. I don't even want to leave. Like walking around the property, walking around, apartment or whatever, not leaving, but in my eyes, but yeah.
I have a quick question about the Sabbath meal while we're on the subject. I'm by myself, so I'm always alone to eat, and I can't, make a huge feast of a meal for just myself. So, is it okay just to make small somethings?
Yep, it's fine. On Shabbat, I'm single. I eat what's it called, cereal.
Yeah. Yeah, a bowl of cereal or a box of cereal and a thing of milk will get you by just fine.
Milk, that's good for me. It lasts all day.
Yeah.
We like heat up food, you know what I mean? Like turn on the flames to heat up food or whatever, big deal, make a sandwich. That's not, the stuff's already prepared,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's how we do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whenever I'm at my camper, I do barbecue outside and stuff like that, or make a pot roast. I do like to do that, just and I guess it's in a crock pot. But yeah, that's really. I know how to cook, but I don't cook a lot.
Yeah, like the crock pot is like the Sabbath saver for sure.
Right.
So I see, Scott, you wanted me to fill you in on the comment or on what I said a while about. I'll kind of recap. We were reading 9 verse 3. And when you break down the beginning of that, when mine enemies are turned back, it actually reads more so when my opposite tribe has not yet begun to the north. And then it's talking, that last word means that the west is looking to the north. And Grateful One said Achor, the Valley of Achor. Isaiah, maybe?
Yep. 65:10.
On it. And Shelby, I agree that last word about presence, it means about him turning his face. So like him turning his face back to us is what I see as well. When you look at it about the tribulation aspect, for sure.
That's true.
I've started preparing on Thursday. Sometimes even Thursday night I'll get started, Judy. Is that cheating? I guess technically it'd be Friday, so at sundown, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So hopefully, Scott, you got all that. Let's see. Did we want to read that Isaiah 65:10? Then she said Psalm 9:3. I'll look up that one.
All right, you want me to read it, Isaiah?
Yeah,
All right.
that's what we were reading. Never mind. Yeah, if you're there, if you
Yep.
don't mind.
And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks in the valley of Achor, a place for the herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me.
Hey, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be back in like 20 minutes.
Sure. Yeah, meditate on that for a little bit, Scott.
I'm going to look that up because I'm curious.
We're still looking at it too, so. The north would be the locust army. The northern countries make up the locust army for the most part.
Ah, no, you ruined it for Scott. The question was for Scott.
Oh, well, my bad.
You had to think about it.
You don't want to watch movies with me.
Or me. I'm better. Spoiler.
So Strong's number 5911, Achor is the name of a place in Palestine.
To the north.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep, that most definitely is. Confirmation right there.
Yep.
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab a beverage.
Okay. I don't know why our comments aren't coming up on the screen here.
On which app? James?
On the restream. They're supposed to. Probably a setting I didn't turn on or something. I'm still learning about this. There's so much you can do in here.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of views over there in Restream?
What's that?
Is there a lot of views on Restream or what? Has it been?
I haven't. So I checked the stats, like each individual platform. I forgot how many there were. TikTok definitely gets more. But we've only been doing it for what? Is this the fourth week?
Yeah, I think so. Third or
Yeah.
fourth.
So
But so like the restream just connects us. So like right now I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter all at the same time. And like after we did our last one, there was like 44 people that had viewed it on Facebook as we were doing it. So I don't know. I don't know how. I haven't checked up on how much, like how many people have viewed it since then, but I think it kind of randomly goes through reels, kind of like TikTok and stuff, I guess.
hey, as long as
And then
someone's
you can
learning,
always,
right?
yep. And then it's like posted to the page, so like people can go back and look at it and watch it anytime as well. So, all right. 9:4. For you executed my right and my cause. You sat on the throne judging in righteousness.
Oh, that's crazy. Mine says me.
It says what? You just went away.
Dang it.
Oh,
It
yeah.
says you have maintained my right.
Yep,
That's what mine says in the King James.
that's what mine says.
And then it says the last part is pretty much the same though, except for Well, thou sattest in the throne judging, right? That's pretty close. So when you break those words down, like it's pretty self-explanatory. There isn't, right means verdict. It comes right from the root word to judge. The word cause, like for thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Um, it means his judgment, or like strife or punishment as well. It can mean. So it just kind of makes you think about that, like thou hast maintained my verdict and my strife for punishment. So like I can relate with some of that. Like, like I've mentioned my back, even though I'm following his way, he's still going to maintain that punishment on me for whatever that punishment is. Maybe he'll take it away someday. Maybe not. Maybe it's a lifelong punishment. But that should not deter us from his way or deter us from following his way.
It should strengthen us.
Yep. In Book of Nazarene, it says they leave a place, and one of the disciples asks the Messiah. He asks them, "Why did you not heal everybody?" And the Messiah's response was, "For some, it may be better if they are not healed, because that strife and punishment is what brought them close to the Father. And if they are healed, and they don't have that strife or punishment anymore, they might lose that connection with the Father."
Yep, absolutely.
Grateful children.
Do you have anything you wanted to say on that?
No, I had those two words written down: maintain and right.
What does maintain mean? I didn't see that
So
one.
it says to do or make, accomplish, advance, appoint, bestow, and bring forth.
So it kind of fits for the word then, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, and then in the scriptures it says, "For you executed my right and my cause."
Yep. Which that word kind of is a little easier to understand than maintained.
But in some aspects, like I like the word maintained as well, because when people think about like execute, they think of like, all right, you did it, it's done, like I served my 10 days in jail, it's executed, it's
Yep.
done.
Yep. Right. For sure.
But the maintained I like because it keeps you in remembrance that, there's something that's to be remembered there.
Yep.
Good. All right. Next verse, 5.
Yep.
You have rebuked the nations. You have destroyed the wrong. You have wiped out their name forever and ever. King James, it says, thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. What you got on that one?
I did not break that one down because this Bible literally just came like an hour before we started. But I mean, I can look some of them up as we go.
No, that's totally fine. At least you got into it right away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read 9 real quick. Ethiopian Bible says, "You terrified the nations with your battle cry. You destroyed the wicked. You permanently wiped out all memory of them."
Wow.
I like that.
Yep.
Thou hast rebuked the heathen, and that would be the thou hast scared them with the battle cry. That is awesome.
I'm going to look up heathen, what it says here, because I've noticed in some concordances it reads different. It's not drastically different, but where were we?
Well, there is some big differences that I've seen Adrian and Michael point out, but the one that I have seems to be pretty decent.
Yeah, I was looking for one specific word, and that's Gentile. So all the concordances I've checked, Gentile is whenever it talks about heathen or nations, it says Gentile, which is why I caution, the church.
Which is
You stop calling yourself a Gentile, or you're going to remain a Gentile.
yeah. Well, the Gentile they teach now is just a Greek.
Yep.
It's not even. It used to mean an unbeliever.
Yeah.
Yes, Angela, we're on Psalms 9:5. But yeah, they've changed it in some of the Strongs where it just means it's a Greek. And yeah, it's some of those things are very misinforming. What was I looking for here? That
Try looking it up online. It completely changes it. That's why I can't even use the internet for research anymore. Well,
the only thing I use the Bing searches for really is to try to find a verse that I can't find.
Yeah. You always got to verify it with the word. I mean, we should all be doing that. We shouldn't take anybody's word for anything, even if it's one of us or anybody, within the group, or if it's anybody that we supposedly trust. Always verify it with the word.
Oh, that word destroyed. It's got the same number 6 as it does perish in verse 3.
Yep.
A different perspective there. It's not actually, it might not actually mean he's going to be, I believe in tribulation, it's going to mean that. But
yeah,
when you think about it on a personal level, ones that you have to deal with, you can see why they are the way they are, why they can't see what we see, like this verse right here, thou hast destroyed the wicked. If you look at it, like the Father has turned away, or basically is kind of what was that definition again that we had on 6? I wonder what that word wicked means too. I'm sure it's
I was just
now that we're
I
on
was
that.
just going there.
Yeah. So he caused them to wander away, not necessarily killed them or whatever. Shouldn't say that, I guess. Unalive them, but he caused them to wander away.
Yep.
That's why some of the people in our lives that we just don't understand why they can't see what we see. We're just like, come on, like it's right there, it's right in front. I just showed you. Yet they say the exact opposite of what you just showed them. And this is why, right here. What's that word wicked mean?
So it says morally wrong, concretely, an actively bad person, condemned, guilty, ungodly, wicked, and one that did wrong.
So lawless.
Yep.
Someone that doesn't follow the commands, basically, in simple terms. Now has put out their name forever and ever. And that name, it's not only like Daniel, all right? Like, it's not only that there's going to be people talking bad about this guy named Daniel after I pass. No, it's my reputation, it's my memory,
Mm-hmm.
it's my individuality, or it can be my shame.
Yep.
But that's kind of what the name, that word that they use there for name, it actually can mean renown also.
Yep.
So that's a deeper aspect on what you can think about yourself and
Mm-hmm.
self-analyze yourself and take an inventory and think about what people are going to be saying about you when you pass on from this life. You know, what's your name going to be? What's your memorial going to be? Is it going to be shame? What's the memory going to be? Good, bad, reputation?
Yep.
Same thing.
So the next part's interesting. Forever and ever,
Six.
two different numbers.
Oh, that. Yeah. What do you got there?
So the first one is 5769. And
I'll look up the second one.
right. So 5769 says Olam, properly concealed, vanishing point, time out of mind, past or future, eternity, adverbial, always, ancient, continuance, eternal. So kind of like till the end of time is what I get from that. Like when we say forever, that's what I think of. It's always ongoing
Yeah.
till the end.
And then this one, the 5703, it has a root word, but this one means like terminus, peremptory. I don't know what that word means, but a duration in the sense of advancing or perpetuity. And the root word means like to advance or pass on or continue. Cause to remove, to bedeck.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, they expound upon each other.
Yeah.
Look at all these different words for the different, like they got heathen, wicked, and enemy in 3 sentences, and they're all words, or I mean, three, like, well, that's one sentence, and then at the beginning of the second sentence, there's 3 ways to describe different people with 3 different words,
Yeah.
but they all kind of mean the same thing. Maybe.
For the most.
What did that one heathen mean?
You want me to read that one?
Did you say? Yeah, what did you say again?
Well, I was looking for the one specific word, um,
Oh, okay.
Gentile.
And mine says a Gentile. Oh, a flight of locusts.
Oh, really? I must have missed that.
Yep. 1471.
Um,
Thou hast rebuked the
oh,
heathen.
yeah, it does. Wow.
Be a troop of animals or a flight of locusts. Foreign nation. Comes from a root word 1465,
Hmm.
which means the back of the person.
The butt.
And that comes from the root word 1460, which could mean the back, the middle. And that comes from root word 1342, which means to mount up, to rise, be majestic.
Hmm.
Majesty of God. That really take a turn, huh?
Yep. This is why we can't just read.
I'm going to go back to that last one. Might not make it very far tonight. $14.65.
We did say 9 had a lot in it.
It did.
Hmm.
It does. The back. The middle. Corresponding to 13.54. Oh, okay. I read the wrong number. Or no, I did. From 13.42,
Hmm.
which means to mount up. Locust army, to mount up.
Hmm.
All right, and it also comes from the root word 13.54, which means to hollow or curve the back as rounded,
Hmm.
like a hunchback. Interesting. I'll send you on a little wild goose chase there.
Hmm.
I was pulling up different versions. Are we still on? Where are we at?
We're actually on 9.5 again. We were looking up the word heathen. And then we were looking up, well, we already looked up wicked, and then we were going to look up enemy next. Sorry, we have not gotten very far. For anyone that is expecting to get somewhere tonight on this, it's we're
Now look
getting
at that.
somewhere, just maybe not very fast.
You just lost 2 people from the group.
Sing for the joy. Absolutely, Wanderer. Hallelujah.
For wicked, I'm getting just like criminal, guilty one, but also hostile to Yah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting.
So that one enemy is like the opposite tribe again.
Hi guys.
Yep.
Shalom, Angela. That's right. The turtle, slow and steady, wins the race. What'd you see there, James? I hear you going over there.
Well, I was reading the enemy again, and I kind of put them both together because 341 says actively participate of ayab, I guess that word is, and then it says the root word 340 to actively participate as one of an opposite tribe or party. And anything opposite what Yahweh says, it's not good. Don't matter what it
Yeah,
is.
that's when we're standing for the Father. That's exactly what that means.
Yep.
You're not for him, you're against him. An adversary. Shalom, Jason.
Who is the bow with that bending and the hunchback? That kind of just reminded me of something about bending of the bow. I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, the arrows, there's many arrows in the quiver of the Messiah, and the four horsemen or the locust army is, they're all different arrows in the quiver.
I wonder if it has something to do with that since we're talking about the enemy and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good connection there. Yeah, I didn't put that together. I was thinking of like somebody, with a hunchback. I wasn't thinking of the bow on the back like that. That's good connection there.
I know, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Max.
Hi, Grayson. Saw you.
Don't eat the kids, Max. You just see him run by.
Just like flying through the grass.
Is a live confession wrong? I'm not sure what you're talking about, but confession is always good, but I believe confession should be with the Messiah.
I would say not in a public setting. Just like we're not supposed to, like the churches do, we're not supposed to be praying at the altar during an altar call. But confessing to your brethren, definitely what we're supposed to do. James 5:16.
Thank you for that. All right, so we're on to 9:6 kind of. We got to enemy. I think we're ready to move on from there though, right?
Yep.
Okay. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. So the word destructions, when I looked at that one, it actually means like drought. And then the root word of that means by heat. So if you think about bringing forth dry land, by heat, that sounds a lot like the end time. Judgment Day.
Doesn't Isaiah hold on, I'll get the verse.
So listen to this though, it goes into more root words as you're looking that up.
Yep.
2721 means by heat. 2719 means cutting instrument. 2717 means to parch, desolate, destroy, or unalive.
Yep. So what number was that? That word?
Destructions. 2723.
2723. I don't know. I thought of was Isaiah
Oh,
1:7.
Okay, yeah, let's hear that.
So it says, "Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers."
Yeah, like we were just reading earlier, the heathen.
Yep. Yep.
Shalom, Brother Michael.
Max is just floating. Hi, Max. Are you on my chair?
No, he's on the couch.
I'm under that.
I got monkeys crawling all over me. So here's some more to it's more perspective to look at. So the word perpetual means a goal. All right, that's more so what the word means is a goal, or to glitter from afar is the root word on that. So the word and means to complete or goal of completion.
Mm-hmm.
So just like we know at the end of tribulation and everything, you know, there's a promise at the end of that destruction and the promise at the end of all of that stuff that's going to come.
Yep.
That is the perpetual end.
Yep. Prophecy that's coming to pass very quickly.
And then if you look at the word destroyed, it means actually like to tear away a foe. Cities is a foe. All right, it doesn't mean necessarily a city like
Mm-hmm.
and thou hast destroyed cities. You know, you would think that he's like Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, that's what would come to your mind when he says something like that. But when you break down the words, it actually means he has tore away a foe.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of read that again with all these words in a different perspective. O thou enemy, opposite tribe, destructions or drought by heat are come to a goal of completion. Thou hast tore away a foe. Their memorial is perished with them. And we know that their memorial from before, well, it's a different word than name, but might have to look that one up. I don't want to say anything I don't know.
Oh, I got it.
You got
Max,
it?
get off my chair.
Hey, get off. You guys get out of here now. You're distracting. Go.
So it says. So essentially, it's memory, remembrance, recollection.
So that's kind of self-explanatory. It's then
Yep.
the ending. And remember that word perish doesn't mean necessarily unalived.
Mm-hmm.
So that just helps give a way bigger perspective onto that than what's in the word, you know.
Yep.
Let's read from the scriptures. The enemy is no more, ruins everlasting, and you have uprooted the cities. even their remembrance has perished.
Yep, there we go.
So that one says cities as well. Anybody else have anything they'd like to throw on? You're welcome to come up. Anybody is welcome to come up and speak and share in the study as well. All right. Verse 7. I didn't have nothing wrote down for this one. But Yahweh abides forever. He is preparing his throne for judgment. I think it's because it's speaking of the Messiah right there. It's when he returns. That's what I see right there.
Yep.
He is ruling. And he judges the world in righteousness, and he judges the people in straightness. Well, we all kind of know what righteousness means, but what's that uprightness? That one's got a different number to it for sure. Were you looking that up already?
Yep. $43.39. Evenness, prosperity or accord, straightness. Agreement. That are equal, equity, righteously.
Mine reads crazy. It says he judges the world fairly. He makes the legal decisions for the nations.
Well, that would mean, when he comes back and he instills the Torah, that will be how the legal situations are determined, instead of this system that we have now that has so many laws that you have to have someone go and represent you, or else you just lose.
Yep.
You don't even know how to work. You don't even know how to defend yourself.
It's giving me the nuance of the heavenly council.
Mm-hmm. That's what we need, is that heavenly council on earth. His righteous ruling. Great judgment. That's what led us astray to begin with, is us trying to use our own righteousness and our own rulings. Like, he already gave us a list with all the things that applied to life. And then here we are trying to, we're at 9:6. 9:7 and 9:8. But, in Psalms. But, why do we need all these laws that are ever changing and ever compounding on each other? If we could just follow his laws and it's all taken care of.
Yeah, and if there's any Christians that are still in the church out there listening, and you're wondering why things are going wrong all the time, well, that's exactly why, because you're not following the Father's will. You're not following his laws, his commandments. That's not to say that things won't go wrong, but you won't get that sense of despair if you're following the Father's will, because he'll walk you through it. He shows you the way.
That's right. He has an answer for every situation that you're in,
Yep.
Like myself. Shalom, brother.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Just doing the Bible study thing.
Psalms what? 9?
We're on we're on 9:8 right now. But in every given situation, he's got an answer. And I know this because in my past I went through life, wondering what the answer was, and the Christian church did not have the answer because they aren't following his way. They talk a good talk, but they don't do the walk.
They go on their own understanding.
Yep. All right.
In verse 9:9 talks about it.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Yahweh also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. There it is right there.
Hey, brother, I'm going to hop down. I got some stuff to do. I might come back up later, but I just wanted to say hi to everybody. I hope that everybody's having a good night. So, what's up, bro?
All right. Shalom, brother. Thank you.
Well, brother,
Have a good night as well.
Good night, guys.
Love you, Bran.
Love y'all.
All right. And Yahweh is a refuge for the crushed one, a refuge in times of distress. It was 9:9, right?
Yep.
So oppressed, crushed, to crumble, collapse. So for the ones that are the depressed, the anxious, the worrisome, the ones that are financially without, the ones that are being held down, abused, all of that. That's what it refers to.
Mm-hmm.
A refuge.
Yep. My Bible, it says Psalms 32:7, and it says, so I'm going back to the scripture. It says, "You are my hiding place. You preserve me for distress. You surround me with songs of deliverance." Selah.
Hallelujah.
I think that's how you say it. I think you say Selah.
I don't. Yeah, it's. I actually looked it up, and it's not even really a word. Like you don't even really say it, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably not.
It just means to like stop and meditate and like think about it. So I don't know if people would actually like say it or not. I don't know.
So I got Proverbs 18:10. And
Proverbs 18:10.
yep. So the name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. So who are the righteous? Those following his laws, his commandments, Psalms, the prophets, doing what the book tells us to do, his instructions, his Torah. So that refuge is not for everybody. You have to be following what he tells you to. So everybody in the church that's not following, they're doing Sunday services and saying that the law is abolished and there's only 2 commandments. That refuge isn't for you. It can be.
Our Father doesn't change. I even hear pastors say that his ways never change. His word never changes. Do you think his righteousness changed? Do you think the way that people were perfected and the way that people, like in Luke 1:6, how people were found righteous and blameless before the blood of the Messiah, before he was even born? Do you think that's changed? Just because the Messiah came? I don't know. I think he came to confirm that. He came to magnify it and exemplify it and show us that it is possible. He even told us to go and sin no more. After he made people whole, that is what he told them, was to go and sin no more. So what is he doing when he washes us clean? He's making us whole, just like if he was there in the flesh. So what are we going to do? If he was there and he made you whole, think about this. If he actually touched you and healed you, would you go and run out next week and just do whatever you want? If there was a man that actually touched you, what would your next week look like? Would you just do whatever, go to work, make your money, and then go back and try to find the guy on Sunday again so that he can touch you and heal you again?
If you do that, he won't do it a second time. I can guarantee you that.
Man, I don't think I would.
No.
You know, if he saw you throughout the week and he was like, he saw that you were trying, maybe he would.
Mm-hmm.
But he better come on Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah.
He's a master of the Sabbath.
of the Sabbath. Doesn't say he is the Sabbath.
Yeah, and he loved to heal on the Sabbath. So that would be the day I would be looking for him. But yeah, it's not an everlasting fountain of water that you can just go get a drink whenever you want. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why there are so many sick people, because that's exactly what they would do, and he knows it.
Yep.
That's right.
Exactly right. Why people go to church and they come in, they leave the same as they came in. It's not how it's supposed to go. When we read this word, when we do what the Father tells us, he changes us.
Because you know that rod that he carries, that shepherds carry, and that story that the one lamb wouldn't stay and he was always having to leave to go get the lamb, and they would use that to break the leg and then carry the lamb around on their neck until the leg healed. You know that story? That might be what's happening to so many people being sick right now, and he's not getting them better because that's what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you were in here earlier, Angela, but I'll read that Book of Nazarene statement that I read for you, or for everybody. He said, so they left a place and the Messiah didn't heal everybody that came to him. Like some people he healed and some people he didn't. And the disciples asked him why he didn't heal everybody. And he said, to some, it would be better for them if they were not healed. In meaning that, like, if the reason for their coming to the Father, or, you know, what's going to bring them to the Father is their punishment, their persecution, their pain, whatever, their suffering. And some people, that's what keeps them in their relationship with the Father. So if they were to be healed, they might lose that relationship or go away from the Father. So yeah, I think you're exactly right, where he's drawing people in through sickness, through pain, through suffering, through death. I know people that have actually came to the Father without anything in their past from someone passing away. So I think you're right on point with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's pretty amazing what you just told me, because all of a sudden I thought every time I go to either read it or listen, you have videos on that book, or go to listen to those, I get sidetracked and go away from it. And then I'll go back to it, and then the same thing keeps happening. And maybe it's because I'm supposed to be seeing these things, and maybe we all are on our own. We're really doing a lot of reading. We need to be walking some too.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought that up, Angela.
Yep.
That's good.
That is the most important part. Like, what are we doing it for if we're not going to walk it out?
And I love those aha moments.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They're great. Yeah, the reading part is great. And that's the best part. And the book of Nazarene, that shows you how to apply it, you know. The application, and it emphasizes the application. So thank you so much for bringing that up, because that is a huge point that a lot of people, even in the TikTok world, are missing these days. Is they spend so much time behind the screen reading and doing and whatever, and then they get up on the screen, or they get in front of the camera and they put on this persona, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to work in real life, you know. It's not going to bless you. It's not going to bring you closer to the Father. And the thing that we really need to do is learn how to walk as the Messiah walked, and put that as our focus above all and everything. I mean, the prophets, yes, they were instilled with knowledge and wisdom beyond people of their time. But what were they talking about? Why were they able to walk the way that they walked? Because they were able to see the Messiah. That's why. They saw him in a light that nobody else saw him. So that is the goal, is to the walk.
Yep.
Hallelujah, Angela. Sorry for the detour, but that's one that needs to be taken.
Yep.
That was great.
And just because you've not walked it in your past doesn't mean you can't start walking it now, today, tomorrow. You know, anytime is a good time to start. I walked the opposite path for most of my life. And as soon as I started to walk, like I made the step in the right direction, he was like the father with the prodigal son welcoming me home, you know? So you just keep on going down that path, and just remember that story about the prodigal son, because the Father is always waiting for you with open arms. Always.
Yep. If you're still breathing, it's a good time to start.
That's a very good point. As long as you have breath in your lungs, you still have a chance to proclaim his name. Well, and that leads us right into the next verse. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Yahweh, has not forsaken them that seek thee.
Mhm.
Man, it's amazing because I did not look at that verse. I don't know if anybody else did, but I doubt what we were just talking about had anything to do with that verse coming up next. That is amazing.
That's the Father right there. Confirmation
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
Hallelujah.
every
Wish
time.
everybody could know that. The ones that start reading their Bible and going through it, what a great feeling it is. If they knew, it's better than any drug.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely right about that. I get a tingly feeling all the way from like the top of my head through my neck and stuff.
I do too. I was just going to mention that. And I think that's why I get so excited. I wait for it all week long because this happens every week and I know he's upon us.
Hallelujah.
Happiness, the feeling of happiness.
That's right. Hallelujah. This is so good. This is such a good group we got here that just bring up all these different points and touch. That's why it takes us so long to get through. Hour and a half now, and we're only halfway through the chapter. I love it. So I didn't even have anything wrote for that verse. That's the weird part. It was very powerful and impactful right now, but I have a blank.
Yeah, I have nothing on that one either. There are two reference scriptures. If you want me to read those.
Yeah, do you got them both looked up, or do you want me to look up one while you're reading one?
You want to do Proverbs 14:26,
Sure will.
and the one I'm going to read is Psalm 91:14. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name.
Yeah, that's right. And, just for clarification, we're not talking about the whole, like the whole name fight battle out there. If you're using Yahshua or Yahushua or whatever, that's Yah is the most important part from what I've found from scripture. Is he's coming in his father's name, which is Yah. There's like 3 verses in scripture that refer to that, I believe.
Yep.
Proverbs 14:26. But Jesus is definitely the wrong name to be using.
Yep.
Wanted to make that point clear. In the fear of Yahweh is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge. And I don't know if people can notice that in their own lives as they've come to know the Father and build a relationship with him in truth and follow his commands, is that that as you do the things he wants you to do, that he's going to take care of you. That's the refuge, the comfort, the sanctification process that brings you to peace, to shalom. So just Just wanted to add that. You want to read the next one for me, brother?
Sure. Verse 11. Sing praises to Yahweh, which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. Sounds like the gospel to me.
Absolutely. Yep. The words of Moses and the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like exactly like what the disciples and Paul and all of them, that's what they declared among the people of his doings.
Yep.
All of that.
We're on 10, right?
11 now.
Yeah, that was 11.
I missed out.
And I kind of did some, well, I didn't really break that one down too much, but. All right. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. For I'm going to read it out of scriptures now. For he remembers the seekers of bloodshed. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. So, when he maketh inquisition for blood, this means like the word inquisition means more like to follow or to seek. So like the ones when he maketh it, so when he seeks for blood, he remembers them. When is he going to be seeking for blood? Tribulation.
I think my reference was Revelation 6, 9 through 10.
Revelation 6. You want to go ahead and read that, or you can go ahead if you want, or if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
9 through 10. When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of Yah and for the witness they had borne. They cried out with a loud voice, O sovereign Father, holy and true, how long before you will judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And who is going to inherit the earth? The meek and the humble.
Yep.
And this is just him reassuring us that he will not forget his promise to us. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Great reference there. Thank you very much for that, Jess.
Also, I did want to say, what's it, 12? I looked up Avenges, and I found under heathens, also heathen deities.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was for where was that for? You lost me on that one a little bit.
12, 9:12. Avenges, the word avenges.
Avenges. I don't have that in my.
Let me see where I got it from.
Neither
Is
of my versions have that.
Is it Inquisition? Is that the word?
No, 9:12. Let's see. It says in ESV, "For he who avenges blood is mindful of them."
Yep.
And you said that could mean heathen deities?
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting.
Huh.
Well, that would very much go along with what's happening at, tribulation, these people following.
And so it's number 1875 for Inquisition. And it says necromancers.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I came across that.
Yeah, he's going to remember them, not in a good way.
Can necromancers be ghost hunters?
We are commanded not to seek after the spirits or not to speak to the dead.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of those ghost hunting shows.
Yep. Yeah, any of that, any of the speaking to the, the people that try to draw in spirits and all that stuff, all of it, no matter what, is negative. Like, we aren't even really supposed to be praying to, like for the dead or anything.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
I gave the T-shirt back.
Good thing.
Yep.
I will be right back.
All right.
If you want to go ahead and start on the next verse, you go right ahead. Don't wait for me.
All right. Verse 13. Have mercy upon me, O Yahweh. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. Let's go to, I'm going to look up trouble. It's number 6040. And it says depression, misery, affliction. And then which I suffer of them that hate me. Obviously that could be a lot of people. Hate, I'm going to look up that word too. It's 81, where'd it go? 8130. Let's see, 8130. To hate personally, enemy, foe, hateful, utterly. So I know hate in other verses. I don't know. Um, I don't remember where it is. Talking about hating our brothers. That word hate is a different definition. That means to love less. So this one here means something totally different.
I'm back.
Thanks for the warning. Um, did you hear any of what I said?
Just the end part that the hate here is a different meaning of hate.
Yep. And then I looked up trouble. That's affliction, depression, which we know comes from no matter it's. I see it as no matter how close we're walking, um, there's gonna come a person that says something hateful, or that says a lot of times what I hear, oh, you're of the devil, because we're teaching what the word says, and they don't understand it, so they don't see it as what we see it as. There's going to come a time. There's going to at least one person that it's going to affect us. Um, like for instance, myself. There's a lot of people that come at me, and I just brush it off now. But if you have like a close family member that's not in the truth, saying hateful things to you, um, it's gonna affect you. I'm not saying depression and all that, but it's gonna cause some affliction.
And sometimes you don't even realize, like, when you're in the conversation or something, or dealing with it, like, it's almost like adrenaline, like if you get hurt or you get cut, you don't even know how bad it is right away or how much it hurts until later on because of the initial adrenaline or whatever the initial feelings.
Yep.
Sometimes when you're dealing with people, it's defensiveness or pride or something that doesn't allow us to feel that hurt right away.
Hmm.
Not adrenaline, like getting cut, but just definitely I can see where you're going with that, James. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, that's probably the Father protecting us, so we don't get into that argument. We don't say something hateful back. We have time to reflect on it and bring it to Him.
Yeah, just like pain is a warning for us, like pain isn't really anything. It isn't like us bleeding, like bleeding means we have a cut, we're leaking life out of our body.
Hmm.
Pain is just like a warning signal, like, hey, you got a cut, you know.
Yep.
Emotions are warning signals, like, hey, there's something going on you need to pay attention to, you know. If
Yep.
you don't have that peace or shalom or happiness or joy, there's something amiss that needs to be addressed.
Hmm.
We're supposed to bring everything to the Father before we act on anything.
Absolutely.
Hallelujah for that. And that's where he gives us the understanding and the wisdom, because if we don't bring it to the Father, then what are we relying on? Our own understanding.
Lean not on your own understanding.
Hallelujah.
My understanding didn't get me very far in life before the Father.
Right.
Same here.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I was going somewhere. It's like, my kid, he's got a hamster, and you watch him run that wheel sometimes. Man, he's going like a bat out of hell, but he's in the same spot he was just when he started. That's how I felt for 40 years of my life.
Yep. And even sometimes now, you still get that sense of we're running around in circles because unfortunately we have to live in the world. You get that sense of going around in circles, doing the same thing, and not getting anywhere, according to the world. But like you said, there's a sense of peace that comes with it. It's not like we don't dwell on that stuff anymore. It becomes easier to have to run that hamster wheel because we still have to do it. We just don't
Now
have
we
to.
can enjoy the scenery a little bit.
Yes, yes. We don't have to be of the world.
And we know why we're doing it. We know we're not just doing it looking around like, oh man, I'm back here again. Like, why? Why am I here again? Now I know why I'm here again. Like some conversations, some days throughout the week, like especially on TikTok and stuff, it feels like I'm saying the same thing all week long,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a reason for it. It's because that's how people learn. That's how you teach. That's how you share the word. That's how you do all the things that he wants us to do. It's a basic repetitive cycle of his will working through our lives. And it's as simple as that. He made it as easy for a simpleton and the genius to do it. It doesn't mean that you can't do it because you don't have intelligence. It's anybody can do it. I suppose you guys are getting hungry. All right. I got some kids to feed, so James, you're gonna have to take over for a little while.
Okay.
But I really don't have much else to say on these. I kind of got I don't know if it was just because I was too much in it for the day or what, but I didn't have a lot wrote down on these. But I'm just going to share something quick that I wrote down about one of these verses. It's like, I just wanted everyone to see, like, if we're starting to see the picture yet, that like the wickedness that damns us and that corrupts this world comes from within us. And if you look at chapter 9, you can see that the foes and the enemies are things that are not actual people. They're ways of life, and people might be actually doing these ways of life, but they can change as well. So,
Yep.
with that, I'll let you have the floor for a while, James, and I'll pop in when I can.
All right. All right. So left off with I'll just read through it again. The end of this is pretty. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. So reading 13 again. Have mercy upon me, my love. Consider my trouble. That was loud.
Yeah, oh, sorry about that.
It's all right. Which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gate of death. Actually, I want to look up the word death. 4194. So it says natural or violent, concretely, the dead, their place or state, Hades, figuratively, pestilence, ruin. So it can be both literal and figurative. Um, if anyone wants to say anything, because I'm not watching the comments, feel free to. I think Daniel's got to approve you to hop in, but maybe Angela, if you see a comment, you can speak. If anyone's got a question or anything.
Do you guys have any questions?
We're on 15.
We are going to no, we are 14 next. All right. All right, so I'll read 14. That I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. So I'm just curious what gates. I enjoy looking up these words because
That court of tabernacle or heaven for gates.
oh, there you go. Okay. And then I will rejoice in thy salvation. I mean, there's really not much to talk about that. We rejoice in deliverance. I'm going to see if this salvation has a different meaning. I know I believe it's the root word. It means deliverance. But let's see here, 34, 44. Participle of Yasha, something saved, deliverance. Yep. Salvation, deliverance, health, victory, prosperity. Because we know if we're doing the Father's will, He's not going to, just like Daniel was talking about in the book of Nazarene, there's not going to be healing for everybody, but what He will give us is understanding if we're doing His will. He will help us to understand His word. And also, like Daniel said, why we're doing it.
I have a reference of Isaiah 62. Let's see, 62:11 says, "Behold, the Father has proclaimed to the end of the earth. Say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your salvation comes. Behold, your reward is with Him, and His recompense before Him."
All right. Thank you for that.
That was good.
Yep. Um, let's go on to 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken.
Hey guys, I think Mark wants to come up.
All right. I don't know if Daniel can hear, if he can let him in
I
real
got
quick.
him.
Thank you.
It's just close by. I barely heard you guys, but excellent.
It's the other Mark. It's Mark Wright,
Oh.
3508. That brother.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm still here. I was just reading.
I sent him an invite.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. It's good that we have more than one Mark.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's weird. I sent you an invite, brother. Interesting.
Did you say something that TikTok didn't like?
No, he said he's got to change his settings or something.
Oh,
It
yeah.
must
Yeah.
not allow the microphone or whatever. Yeah, more than likely you have to allow the microphone and camera.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go back to cooking.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you a moderator so you can let him up too, James.
Okay.
Shelby.
All right. So verse 15, there's a whole lot there. We know what heathen means. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, in the net which they hid is their own foot taken. So I mean, heathen following the ways of the world, not following the Father. For lack of a better term, dig their own grave.
Bad fruit.
Yep. And the issue there is that they don't see it because their eyes are still closed. They still have scales over their eyes. So there's that hamster wheel for them. That's why we need to come out of the world and follow the Father. Verse 16. Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. There it is again.
At a reference of Exodus 7:5.
Okay.
It's the Egyptians shall know that I am the Father when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring out the people of Israel from among them.
Nice. Praise Yah. Verse 17. The wicked shall be turned into the grave, and all the nations that forget Elohim. I mean, essentially, it keeps repeating what the last two verses said.
Interesting. Mine says the wicked. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. 17, right? The
Yeah.
wicked are turned back and sent to Sheol. This is the destiny of all the nations that ignore Yahweh.
Huh. Yeah, that reads a little different. And that word nations, 1471, I'm pretty sure that is Gentiles and heathen.
Well, there who would ignore him.
What was that?
Those who are who would ignore him.
Yep. Yep. So 1471 from the same root as.
17.
I'm sorry. What was that? So yeah, it says the same root as 1465 in the sense of massing, a foreign nation, hence a Gentile. Also, a troop of animals or a flight of locusts. Gentile, heathen, nation, people.
Are you on verse 17?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, there's the locust nation again.
Yep.
More than.
Verse 18. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Let's see. Let me look up that word needy. $34. In the sense of want, especially in feeling, destitute, beggar, needy, poor man. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. There's that same word again from the beginning. Go on to verse 19, says, Arise, O Yahweh, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight.
Mine says, nations, may the nations be judged in your presence.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Daniel or James, would you let Shelby up? She's right there.
Let me see if I can. Oh, there she is.
I was just walking by.
Sorry, thank you.
I just wanted to talk about the poor shall not perish forever. That's basically talking about us and the people that need Messiah, kind of during tribulation. That the other people will fall basically by the wayside and they'll be forgotten. And us, we won't perish because the poor man needs Messiah, right? What does a rich man need? Nothing, So that's what that kind of reminds me of. It kind of really honestly reminds me of everything we've been reading. It's really just maybe like a re-summary of the creation story being said back to Yahweh by Messiah. But I'm not so sure if that's right. But that's what I'm kind of gathering, in some instances.
Hallelujah,
Yeah,
Shelby. It's this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thanks for sharing that.
And that's exactly it. Like you'll see that it's the same word being spoken over and over and over again, just in different ways. Like, especially this verse, for the needy shall not always be forgotten, the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. And like what you were just talking about, now think about how many times the Messiah, as he spoke, he said this, but not in these words, He just said them in different ways that he could understand. And then you got Paul. That the only reason Paul came along really was to help people understand in words they could understand.
I'm terrible at quoting, but I believe the Messiah said something to the effect of, it'd be easier to fit a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot to unpack in that verse as well. When you actually get down to the eye of the needle and the camel and all of that. I'll just touch on that briefly. Like the eye of the needle is actually the door through the gate that people would have to pass in and out when you didn't, like a camel could make it through, but they would have to take off all of their baggage. They would have to unload everything on the camel in order for the camel to make it through the eye of the needle. So think about that.
All right. So, verse 20. Put them in fear, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Oh, that's going to come. They're going to know in the end.
I think they will know because didn't we read somewhere that he was going to kind of show his face back to them? That happens during tribulation. Just for I think a split second, but I don't know if it's, for the split second or if that was Messiah's face. I can't remember. It was in one of Adrian or Michael's videos I watched once.
I believe you're right. I believe it's the Father's face.
Yeah, I think so too. And once they see his face, they're gonna wish that they, did all that they did when we told them to, basically, or we're trying to warn them.
Well, isn't that where they're going to be searching for someone to teach them the word, and nobody's going to know it? They're not going to be able to teach it.
Yeah, they'll be asking everybody, can you read this? And no one will be able to.
Yep. All right, well, there's a lot to unpack in that chapter. Moral of the story is follow the Father. That's what I get out of that, because we don't want part of the world. We don't want to take part of what is coming for the heathen and those that don't obey. We
I'm
want that.
back.
All right.
Where are we at?
Just read 20.
Oh, okay, great. Perfect timing.
Yeah, I was just saying. Moral of the story is don't be like the heathen. We
That's
don't we
right.
don't want we don't want to take part in their iniquity and their fate. You know what they have coming to them. We want that joy that the Father gives us through understanding, no matter what we have to do to get that understanding. That's the only way to go. And I just hope some of the Christians out there that may be listening to this understand that there's no other way. His laws, his commandments are everlasting. He doesn't change. His word doesn't change. He doesn't lie.
Right. One thing that stuck out on me in that last verse was, let the nations know they are but men.
Yep.
Like how many people right now, and how many nations and how many different segregations are like acting like they are gods themselves, you know?
All of them.
Yes, all of them. Changing the word, changing who the Messiah is, who the Son of the Father is. The genetic, DNA manipulation, vaccines, all of this stuff. Food modifications. They're trying to create things that are already created and already good.
Mm-hmm.
When he created it, he said, "This is good." It didn't need to be changed.
Yep.
So that's what stuck out at me, is that he's going to let these nations know that they're just men. They need to follow the way of our Father instead of thinking that they have a better way than our Father.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the Christian religion right there.
Yep.
I heard one old preacher say, "It's not a contract." And I thought, yes, it is.
That's
Absolutely.
almost a literal definition of the word.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the thing is that the church does teach, though, that you get to receive the blessing without doing any of the works. Without you get the bonus, you get his side of the deal without having to hold your end of the bargain. All you got to do is believe that he made the deal, and you're saved.
Mm. There's that participation trophy again.
Oh. I never heard of it put that way.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Well, that was great. That was exactly the way it is, too.
Yep.
And that's funny because when I grew up, we didn't grow up like that. When I had children, everything was like that. All you had to do was participate, and these kids got a trophy.
Yep. There's a reason for that.
Yep. Yep. Just like how they're trying to accept all people into, supposedly the Father's religion. Now you can be gay, you can do whatever, and you're saved. You can break all the commandments in any which way form you want, be completely lawless, and you're making it in. Yep. Just send us your tithe money.
Loves everyone.
Yep.
He just loves everyone.
Yep. Just make sure you put that money in the tithing bin, because that's the one law that we need to keep. It's the tithing.
Yep.
Ridiculous. See, that's the crazy part, is like all these people, I can't imagine doing this expecting to get paid.
Mm-mm.
I could never imagine that. I would feel like I am robbing everybody.
Yep.
You know, the whole money thing is ridiculous. And if there's anybody that is expecting to get money, or, you know, if they even put out an offering table or a tray, just walk the other direction. Just do it. There is no reason for you to be there anymore.
Yep.
The people of the Father, they do not need to ask for money. The Father will provide. They do not need to send out offering tables or trays or whatever, because the people will give willingly.
Yep.
You know, that's the way it is. If they understand the word, they know what the word says. So this is not a ploy to try to get anybody to give me money either. I am doing fine. I don't want money. I don't need money. Father provides. So don't take that way at all. We are not doing that here.
No. We'll send it back.
Yeah. Or else, you know, well, we probably won't spend it the way you want us to if we do spend it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, right.
You know, one of the end time signs is that false prophets will become money hungry. And we're seeing that everywhere, to the point that we can't even talk about it because people would think that we want money.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Right.
There are a bunch of them. Every time you turn around, it's they want your money. They want to be paid.
Yep.
That's right. That's why I was even nervous saying some of the things that I just said, because it could be taken in the wrong context or wrong, you know, perception. So that's why I wanted to clarify what I did.
There's no QR code to scan or nothing here, so you're not going to find anywhere to send it anyways.
Right.
And we help each other out when we need help anyway. All you have to do is ask.
Absolutely.
That's right. That is right. And that's what the true body of the Messiah is supposed to look like. In my eyes, and what I believe I have read from Scripture, that is what it looks like, not what this church looks like. I'm just going to share a little bit of testimony for myself real quick to end this on. As you know, prior to coming into truth, I was a part of a church, and for a year there, I contributed regularly, never asked for anything, thousands and thousands of dollars. And then when I was going through my sanctification process, I was so broke that, you know, my wife had divorced me. I had 50-50 custody of my kids, and I couldn't even afford to go buy a bottle of ketchup. Let's put it that way. I asked the church for $2,000 to help me pay taxes on my house so I didn't lose it, and then help me get a little food in my house. And you know what they said? They said they would pray for me, and I never heard about it again. So that's where their heart is. I'm not saying every church is like that, but you know, that's where their heart is, right? So it's just something for everybody to think about. You might not happen to you, it might not happen to the next person, but it will eventually happen because they aren't following the way of the Father. They're following their heart. So,
yep. With all the churches,
that's what that tithing is supposed to be for in those churches. It's supposed to be there to help the members whenever they need help.
That's nuts.
Yep.
Well, that's what I thought too. You know, going into it, I thought, you know, like I didn't give money expecting to be bailed out, but you know, when I needed the bailout, I expected it because that's what the promise is. That's what they teach you is that, you know, that the promise is he will provide when you're in need. Well, turns out he did provide, but it wasn't through the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about the last time I ever spent there.
They want to bankrupt your bank account and the souls.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there should not be a single homeless person in any church or anybody struggling with the money they take in, but yet here we are.
Yep. Yep, that's right. Well, that was another great study. Um, if anybody has anything else they'd like to share, now would be a good time. Otherwise, James, you got anything you want to say to finish on?
No, I mean we covered quite a bit there. That was a good study. Um,
That was.
yeah, I look forward to every Thursday because you know we know the basics of this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying we know everything by any means. There's we're going to be learning right up to the end, and even on the new Earth. But it's just like that. You know, even you could read a verse 100 times when you have a community of people doing it together, fellowshipping. Always new insight always comes, and it's through the Father, through what He has told them, He has shared with them, and that's the amazing part about it.
Right. That is, and that's what I love about these Bible studies because, like, I can sit and read, and I can read what someone else has wrote about what they think it means and all that stuff. But some of these things that are just said, like on the spur of the moment, or like you know when it first comes to you, are some of the best things to hear. And the only way you can do that or hear what these other people are saying is by being here, doing what we're doing right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it thoroughly. Like Mark said, Mark made a very good comment here. Messiah told his disciples to take no money for what was given freely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Hallelujah. Yah is flowing through us. That's right, Jess. That is right. And I just, you know, am hopeful that there is other groups like us out there. You know, I know that we're not the only ones, but you know, I just really hope there is a lot of them. A lot of these little sleeper cells, you could call them, I guess. Sleeper cells for the Father that are going to just wake up when the time comes. You know.
You know, you just triggered something. I was doing a Google search because, as some of you know, my car is not well. Anyway, had to cancel a trip to get baptized. So I was Googling, like, if there were any Nazarene followers around my area. And what came up just floored me. There were all of these Nazarene churches, but yet they were using the name God and Jesus. Like, I was floored. The more I looked, the more I was just like, unbelievable.
Yep. It's all about titles for them.
Yes. Yeah, you know you're right. They're title worshipers, not name worshipers.
Yep.
And the more, I've seen, especially this last month, it stuck out to me like a sore thumb. I'm sure it's been going on longer, but you hear people using Yahshua and Yahusha and all that stuff, but they're still saying that he's God, that he's the Father, you know?
Mhm.
So you got to be careful of that too. Even though it might sound like they're on track, they're not. So
Yep. Oh, like we were talking about
I'm a
earlier.
little younger, and the baptism's just postponed. I don't trust any of these people.
that's right.
Mm.
What were you saying, James?
Like we were talking about earlier when I asked you about if you were familiar with Jonathan Kahn. Some of his
Right.
content is good, but he still teaches Jesus. His doctrine's flawed.
Yep. Yeah, it's you gotta, with everything in life, we're gonna run into things that are gonna try to lead us away. Like, I'm gonna be real, even things I say are gonna probably lead some people away just because of their perception and the way that they understand what I'm saying, not necessarily because of what I said. So that Jonathan Kane guy that you mentioned, Khan, he says some really good things. He says some prophetic things. Well, he actually makes prophecy, which I haven't kept track of how many times he's been wrong yet, but he's one of those prophesiers.
I used to listen to him all the time. I loved him, had all his books, and now coming to the truth after being baptized, I'm like, how does he say that?
Yeah.
Like literally everything. I can't even watch him anymore. And I didn't mean to cut you off either, but like as far as like Jess is concerned and her being turned around, Michael actually is the one that told me. But when I spent a whole year wanting to be baptized, right? And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And I had the plans to go to Israel and do all of this stuff, right? And then he sends the war before me. Literally, my group was returned the day before war broke out. And then it was like another 6 to 8 months down the road before I was actually baptized. So you don't know that he didn't put that block, even though you don't want it to be your car. That's unfortunate. But maybe that was a reason. Something's in that group where you were going that was unclean, and he's returning you again back to the Father. And like, I think Michael said it's either I can't ever say that word. Okay, Deuteronomy 13:17 or 17:13, where it states that he sends war before his people to return them to the Father. So it's basically like doing the same thing. Like we're being led down the wrong path, and that's why he turned us from those things.
Well, unfortunately, it wasn't a bad group or anything. It actually was Michael that was going to baptize me.
Oh, well, he's not bad. So,
And the deal with the name, guys, the way I see it, for me, and tell me whenever I'm wrong, guys, but for me, I was talking to a friend about some of this stuff. It wasn't exactly about the name, because it can apply to just about anything. But when you learn the truth, we're supposed to walk boldly in that. And if you want to stick with the names Jesus and God and just continue after you've learned the truth, it's kind of like being an accessory to a crime. You're in the car that's heading to rob a bank or something. You're continuing in the lie. You know that it's a lie. It's a lie.
I agree 100%.
I agree with that. I believe that, and I don't know all of, because I know there's so many names out here, which ones it is, but I know a lot of times the Yahuwah ones and stuff like that are still kind of under that messianic umbrella, and they just don't really want to come out from under it. So when I think it was Daniel was saying that they're still using God, kind of as the Trinity in a sense, or Messiah is God at times. You got to watch what, they're doing and saying. And even in some of their translations, it could just throw the whole thing off.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And like with what Angela was saying, like, I used to say Jesus for 40 years. And I have no problem talking to people that use the name Jesus without saying Jesus. It's as simple as that. We don't have conflict over the name. I don't have to sit there and explain who I'm talking about, and I don't use the name Jesus. I use Messiah.
That's what I do too.
Yeah, I use our Savior, whatever needs to be said. But I don't need to say Jesus.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I mostly say Messiah. Like, just even in reading, I'm like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, Messiah. Oh, So.
Yeah. And we don't need to ridicule those people that still use that name either. Like, some people are so quick to just be like, oh my gosh, you don't even know what you're talking about. You still use the name Jesus and you're going to come and talk to me like you know what you're talking about? Like, that's not going to get anywhere with anybody, Like, we got to remember to be humble and be kind, and remember that we were one of those people at some point as well when we address and talk to these people that are learning. Now, I know I got into it with Luke leaving Churchianity here about a month ago or so, and I feel no conviction about that because he knows the truth and he sits and runs around and still uses the name Jesus and is a stumbling block for people left and right. And then he sits and
Ignore it.
and
I
then,
just
and
ignore
then
it. I
yeah.
use whatever name or title, Father, Messiah, or Creator,
Mhm.
Those things, and I try to ignore that part of it.
Yep. But then, the thing I don't like is that I didn't even really care about that. He still uses Jesus, he can do whatever he wants. That's fine. He gets a good message across, regardless of how he does it in some aspects, but he's still partial. That's the thing. And then he makes himself a liar too, by saying he's done. He's not going to argue over the name thing. Stuff like that, which I'm not using him as an example to try and call him out or anything like that. I'm using him as an example so that we can learn and self-reflect. All right. I'm not trying to be a gossiper or anything like that. We have made amends and we talk and we're okay. So there's no contention there between him and I. I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, just for me, if you know better, do better. It's like walking around with a lie right in your mouth.
That's right.
Know it's a lie, but you continue to do it anyway. So that's on you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's my issue. If you know, but you choose to do it anyway, then there's where my problem is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember. So the biggest thing is he goes around and says that he doesn't want to argue over the name, but then he makes himself a liar, which is another commandment that he's breaking. By voicing that, I mean, he'd be better off to just say nothing, right? Like, so we really need to be careful about the things we say and what message we try to project sometimes, because heat of the moment, we can say things that we're not going to do. And if we're not going to do it, we shouldn't say it.
Yep. Absolutely.
You gotta be brave to walk in the truth, guys. You do, don't you?
You really have to not care what anybody else thinks,
Mm-hmm.
except the Father. But and I'll be honest, I don't care what any of you think. I love
I
you
say
all.
the same thing.
I love you all.
You're like, oh, we're gonna be like this since 15. Like y'all aren't gonna change that now.
Yeah.
I hate that I can't come across like nicer. I don't know how to I don't know how to sugarcoat something for somebody, you know? I'm just like, I'm sorry, you get what you get. Like it comes from pure heart, you know, but sometimes I can be very, very abrasive. And it's never my intention. And it's funny because people will be like, oh, well, if you talk to her one-on-one or, you know, you work with me or something like that, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you want to come to me all the time, right? Because I'm the one that is going to help you. It give you the like shirt off my back, give you the last bit of everything that I have, you know? But
It's the devil's trick.
when I talk, when I
Just
talk,
like calling somebody a racist.
yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I'm working on it though. I do ask him, but he has not bridled my tongue like to that point yet.
Well, everybody has their purpose, and we're all part of the body to serve it in different ways. So that might be your way, Shelby, is you might be the one of the microphones for some. You know, I was just thinking about this earlier. Like, there's some things that people say, or the way that people say some things that are just, they just rub me the wrong way. All right. You know, like for me and for some of the people that follow me, they probably like to hear things a different type of way. But for some people that are rubbing me the wrong way, but they're still speaking truth, there's a group of people that they are reaching, that they are rubbing them the right way. So we all just need to remember that, you know. And Shelby, I think that's kind of what you brought up right there, is that your tongue speaks to different people than my tongue speaks to.
I agree because like I need yours because you're the calmer, nicer, you know, I think, you know, when you came in, we kind of came in at the same time. And had it not been for you, you know, I probably would have been like, oh, whatever, you know, because there are some things, and it wasn't that I was like offended or anything by anything like Adrian or Jason would say, but there was things I would be like, what? What did you just say? You know, like, and it takes a lot to offend me, you know, and so I'm very much like not one of those people that are offended. But it took someone like you to kind of, you know, talk about it, and you know, and to watch Michael even speak with you, and you know, when you were coming to a lot of the truth and stuff like that, you know, for us to see that there's a softer side of him. And it was almost like I was looking at Michael like I was looking at myself, you know. And sometimes, you know, type A's kind of hit heads at times, but, you know, one of us got to back down, you know, at some point. So that's kind of just how I took it. Like, I was never, like, just super offended by anything that they said. But there's things that people could do and say, you know. I'll say, like, the straight as the gate people, I don't follow any of them. They bring me straight to my flesh, like, within 3 seconds. Like, I can't do it. It reminds me of a narcissist. And that's, you know, what I was around growing up. And I just can't do it. Like, you know, and stuff like that. Like, that just blatantly are ignorant to the word, I guess. You know, and there's things I'm very, you know, just ignorant to it, you know, at times as well. So, I don't know. Like I said, we need y'all, you know, the softer hearted people too. You know, we look to y'all to make us feel not so mean, I guess. Like, y'all are our soft part of our heart, I guess, is kind of what it is. And we're maybe like the harder side of, you know, maybe somebody else's, like you're saying. So.
Yeah, I love what you just said there, Shelby. You bring up a good point. Like, someone needs to break, you know, the stubbornness, the pride, all of that stuff. Someone needs to break. Like my kids, all right, I got 10 and 8-year-old, both boys, and we go through the same arguments, the same fights, like every week for sure. You know, sometimes daily we do it, sometimes numerous times throughout the day. And I get to the wit's end where it's like, all right, there's no rationale anymore. There's no logical way of fixing this problem. I just tell them, I'm like, one of you guys has to stop. One of you has to stop doing what you're doing and be nice to the other one, like regardless of what the other one is doing. And then you bring up the point of, now if both of you are doing this, imagine how much conflict there would be. There would be none. There would be no more conflict if both of you had this mindset. So, a great point to bring up, Shelby, is we can never learn if we're trying to like push our thoughts on someone. You can't listen if you're always talking. You know, all those things kind of go hand in hand. So, where'd you come from? Interesting. Sorry, my dog just showed up from nowhere somehow. And there they go. Hey, guys. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to spend some time with my boys, my two boys and my adopted boy tonight. So this was very good. And my two other crazy boys, I guess. But thank you very much for everything. I love the conversation at the end. It was very good talk and very good. You know, it's good to share these personal experiences that we have as well. Helps us all grow in ways that we don't even understand. But I love you all very, very much. James, thank you again for helping lead this.
Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
And yeah, good night, Angela, Shelby, Jess. Thank you all. And Mark, if you're still in here, for the input that you guys, and Wifey. I don't know if you're asleep yet or not, but everybody, thank you so much for all the input and just being here and partaking in the Father's word. So have a blessed night, and we will see you again in a week. Love you all.
All right. Love you all.